Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Rao, and here I'm just playing with an old build here. And I featured this on the channel, and it's gotten a lot of love, and it's one of my favorites. And, of course, every one of them is my favorite. I mean, who am I kidding? But anyway, really love this build, and it was one of the real challenging builds that I had built before. So I had some issues with it. But, being that I built it 20 years ago, there were some challenges and accuracies and some things. Now, it was pointed out recently the spoil's on backwards. I've kind of known that it really should be going this way. So, and it's an AMT, or actually a Revell spoiler that came from the 71 CUDA. And, that's what it came off of. And it was all right, but it was what I had. And it's more like a 70, but it should be facing this way as far as the points going forward. But, I've kind of known that, but I decided I was going to, pop it off and see if I can change it. So you can see it's molded in purple, and it's from that Revell 71 Hemi CUDA. And I cut the uprights off, and then I kind of went to my parts stash, which I knew I had this. And this is the uprights from the rear wing of the AMT 71 Charger RT. So I got plenty of those for parts kits. So I robbed those off, cut them on there, and got them on this thing, and just modified them a little bit. So now it's got more accurate stanchions or uprights or whatever word you want to use for them, and just cleaned up the holes. Didn't really change anything there. And so now it kind of fits, and it's in the right direction, and it's looking pretty good. So that's one of the things that's kind of bugged me, and I decided, you know what? I just kind of feel like, because some of these, when I feature them, I'll take them off the shelf and I'll clean them up and get them all ready. And this one, I featured a long time ago, and I was afraid to mess with it. I have another resin body, which I showed in that video. And I kind of always wanted to do them, but I wanted to do an SC shaker car, do a Hemi or a 446 pack. But I really don't care for the shaker setup on this one as far as how the kit is. But anyway, another issue I had with this one from back then was the rear wheels were too far in the wheel wells. Okay. And it was extremely bad on this one. You can see it in the video and everything. So I took the time and I broke it free. So I popped it loose. All right. And you can see the studs did break, but they're busted off there. And it managed to come off loose from the shocks, but not bad. This is, like I mentioned, an older work of mine, and it's got a few inaccuracies, but a few things I wanted to fix. So now to move this around, now I shortened the drive shaft just a little bit, just trimmed it so I got a little bit of wiggle room, and I cut all the mounting pins off. All right. So now I've still got this, but now it is a bit more movable. So if I get this back in place, instead of where it was, you can see how much of the drive shaft I cut off there. So now I can move it, forward and back and adjust where it. So now I can glue that there, and then moving it forward, and I can put it in the shocks, and the shocks kind of move forward a little bit too. But now I can get the wheels much more centered in the openings as they were before. And this one's still a little bit back, but if I just shift the axle just a little bit, twist it, I can get that one in there to where I want it, and this one as well, and get all that lined up. So get some dots of glue in there and get it where I want it. So that's looking pretty good. So maybe I'll get some glue and get it mocked and ready. Well, not really mocked. It's now fitting, so now I just gotta get it in there. So let's back it up just a little bit. Let's get some glue on the back of the tranny first. So we'll get that kind of set up. And then we'll not worry about that just yet. So let's get it in there. So there we go. Give that some time to set. Okay, so This is the side that was really bad, so let's lift that up just a little bit and then get some glue on the underside of this and on the underside of this. Let's put it back down. Get her situated right where I want her. So I'll hold that in place and let that dry a little bit. Okay. And it just takes a little bit of time here, but just let that set. Still moving a little bit on me, but here we go. Holding the front down and making sure it stays where I want it. Okay. Get a little bit on that shock as well. Okay. And I'll be cleaning the fingerprints and everything off of this, but getting that one situated right where I want it and let it harden. Got most of it to hold, so I'm just still fighting with the little bit. And then I'll get this side. There, that's starting to hold. All right. I'll let that sit. I'll get that glued in place. And then I'll get this painted and we'll come back to this. All right, well, here's how that ended up after the glue dried on the wheels here. So they're much better centered in those wheel openings and looking so much better. So definitely a bit more presentable. Still sits flat on this one, which is nice. And I just got a little bit more cleanup. I may touch up a black under here just a little bit when it comes to that. But speaking of black, went outside and shot a few parts here. So here's the spoiler now that it's all done. And that's pretty much ready to get glued on. So move that off to the side here. So now you can see what it looks like while it's on there. Looking a bit more accurate and just a little bit better. hanging a little bit too far back, but I really can't, I'm not going to be drilling new holes and moving it forward. So, but I'm real happy with that. That's a much better representation. So just got a couple more things to do, but that touches this one up. So I just got a little things that I'm gonna, touch up brush paint wise, and glue that spoiler on. And then the mirror I knocked off, glue that back on, which is right here. And put this one back on the shelf as it is. Just a little bit more clean up here. But yeah, some of them when I present them to you and work on them, I'll clean them up and touch them up. But sometimes I'll do stuff like this, but not very often. Only when I decide that I really want to address it and do something with it. And this one I did. It's been kind of bugging me and was kind of feeling like working on it. So I went ahead and did that. So we'll get that one buttoned up here. So that'll kind of do it for this one. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really do appreciate you guys. And you have a wonderful weekend and holidays and everything. And we'll see you next time.